Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm gonna be giving you part 4 of What If Naruto Was the Hope of the Uchiha clan. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, stay in tune for the rest of the audios coming your way over an Anime King 2 and Anime King 3. If you're new, yes, you heard that correctly. I indeed have 3 channels, Anime King, Anime King 2, and Anime King 3, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new, I'll be replying talking about to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say begin this new episode? Start the intro. So the last time we left off, Madara returned, as Madara was shocked when he saw that his brother was surrounded by Uchihas, as his brother was standing right in the center, as blood was all over him. The older Uchihas moved forward to subdue Naruto, as Naruto stood there unflinching, unmoving, as he sliced their legs, making them drop down towards the ground. They stood absolutely no chance against him, as Madara was confused, as Naruto was taken away towards the dungeon. As Madara told him if anyone touched Naruto, he didn't care who it was, he was gonna kill them. As he made his way down there, as he was stopped by the guards. Madara aura made the man piss himself in utter fear. Madara had this bloodlust about him that made them shiver in their boots. As they let him in, as Madara spoke to Naruto, Madara was shocked to what Naruto told him, as Naruto did something, but not for the reason he knew increase and kill his clan members. It was a reason why he killed them, and Madara was furious about it as he went toward his father and where his aunt was. As he told his father that he knew, as Tajima knew that Naruto would tell Madara after all. Madara was probably the only one that didn't see him as a monster for what he did. Although no one else knew why he did it, Tajima knew full well. After all, he was the one that told Naruto did it. But none of them were so privy on releasing that information, because it would mean, well, a bad backlash for the clan. After that, Naruto was brought to trial, as the other members want him to die. But Tajima told them no, but Naruto will be stripped of all of his rights as a Uchiha, and not to mention he will never conceive a family for the one that he took away, as this was a worse punishment than death. As Madara was furious about that, but Naruto accepted his fate. He knew what he was doing and he did it for the clan. He did it for Madara, he did it because he loved the clan, he loved his brother. As the rest of the members kept their mouths shut as Naruto was called the Kinslayer, he went to visit Kurama, as they were attacked by both Hagoromo members, as Kurama knew exactly who they were, along with some Kaguya members. It was the first time that Kurama saw these two groups teaming up, as Kurama sat down and watched Naruto, as Naruto mercilessly slaughtered the 2 platoons of ninja who stood no chance, as he gave them a swift, quick death, all of them. They were nothing compared to him. As Kurama saw Naruto, he saw Indra. Yes, Indra fall to darkness, but Naruto, he would not. Because he loved his clan, he loved his people. As Naruto said farewell to Kurama as he made his way back, as he went to tell them, he went to tell Tajima what was going on. The man was surprised to hear these 2 factions together, as Tajima realized that Naruto had a way inside the village as well. He was able to slip in and out without anyone noticing, because if he had walked through the front gate and people saw him covered in blood, it wouldn't be so good. But this was a rather concerning event, knowing that those 2 clans who were working together. The Uchihas now had to make their step forward, as Naruto was gonna travel with Neri, as he was gonna be our guard. So yeah guys, was basically that's where I left off. You guys can switch across the place, check it out for yourself. So to begin this new episode, Naruto stood in front of his elder brother who gave him a chest. For me, said Naruto. Of course, said the brother. Consider it my parting gift, said Madara. As Naruto opened the chest and looked inside, there was an armor. As Madara smiled, seeing how happy Naruto was with it. It wasn't a normal armor. It had taken a lot of money to make it. as Naruto noticed many seals on the armor and a very strong helmet that would protect his face in battle. It was unique because Uchihas did not use these things, but it would be good protection in battle. Madara noticed Naruto lingering gaze on the seals as he explained, "Those are chakra seals, little brother. They will regularly absorb small amount of chakra from your body. So when you're low, you can replenish it by drawing on those seals. Plus, it will keep you warm in colder winters, and it will expand as you grow, and it can also be used to block against various jutsus and not to mention weapons." "Whoa," said Naruto. "Madara, how much did you—" Madara cut him off, raising his hand, but Tajima got up. "Where did you get that?" he asked. "The black market," said Madara. "It took quite a bit of gold to procure, but I had saved enough for my past missions. The trader said that this was made by the Uzumaki clan, because they're the only one that is skilled enough in the sealing arts. Even I have to say, despite their distant alliance with the Senjus, their capabilities are quite good," said Madara. Tajima nodded as Naruto noticed an unspoken agreement between his father and aunt, as Neri nodded. "You should be more careful with your money, Madara, but I'm happy that this will protect your brother," said Tajima. "We're rich, father," said Madara in a deadpan tone. That made Tajima chuckle. "Yes, that is true. Thanks to your aunt and her skill at negotiation and trading," said Tajima, as Neri blushed in the praise. As Naruto couldn't help but smile at his family, as he remembered Aizen. He would have been happy to see them like this. His fists clenched tightly as he remembered that silver hair Senju that killed his beloved brother. No matter what happened, he was gonna hunt him down, and he was gonna kill him. Time skip. By midnight, the parchment, it was ready. As Tajima glanced at the things that were gathered, the cart was filled with supplies, money, and parchment that would make negotiations better for Neri. She had 24 servants that would be assisting her with her daily chores, with the administration tasks, and serving her with the entire envoy. These were the people who could not fight in the clan, and they were trained to serve their betters. Amongst them was also a few women that were there to give the guards pleasure. While Tajima detested this action, he also knew that, man, when it came to certain action, they were weak. Given the fact that half of this envoy was comprised of great fighters from the Uchiha clan, they were all good men and women that served Tajima, but all of them had a need for pleasure, and it was better if they did it with the people that Tajima provided for them, instead of getting lowered places because they could not control themselves and end up getting killed or leaking information. He had made sure to provide every fighter with a horse because they would be cutting across the elemental nation. The remaining people had said their goodbyes to their loved ones and friends because only Tajima and the few selected were here. There wasn't a big group to come to see them off. His gaze settled towards his younger son as the dragon was on the front of the armor with the Uchiha symbol on the back. He also had a dark face mask on, not really revealing much about his identity, and he also had on a black cloak going straight down. The clan sword was resting right on his hip. Currently, he was giving last instructions to a group of boys, Itachi, Shisui, Kagami, and Takashi Uchiha, that would be serving under him, acting as Neri personal bodyguards. "He's something else, isn't he, brother?" said Neri with a smile. "He is. Look after him," said Tajima. "I will," said Neri. "And take care of yourself as well," he said. "I'm not a little girl anymore, brother, that you used to watch over." I know," he said, as she hugged him, as she saw Madara doing the same with Naruto. "You got great sons, Tajima. I'll watch over Naruto. You do the same for Madara." "I promise," he said, as they both approached the boys. "Thank you, brother, for my life." As Madara smiled, "Just be safe, or I'll piss on your grave," said Madara, as he earned a laugh from Naruto. They were interrupted when they heard alarm at the gates. As they made their way, as they saw the guards there pulling their weapon on a beast, Naruto's eyes widened. The same was the case of the rest of his family. He found himself running forward as he told the guard to stop, which they did. As Naruto approached the beast, the large beast taller than any horse they have ever seen before, long canines, long fangs. "Kurama," said Naruto. The once monstrous fox reduced himself, as he was no longer that large or big anymore. He was smaller, but he was taller than any of the horses, and not to mention he looked ferocious. As Naruto noticed his own clanman trying to kill the dangerous beast, he didn't know why the fox came here, or how he made himself this small, but he knew one thing. Kurama was a friend and someone that he promised to protect. "He's with me," said Naruto, as he looked towards all the men. His father and aunt glanced towards him, as Naruto gave them a stern look though. They did not say anything. Seeing the clan leaders not object, the guards stand down. as Madara approached and clapped Naruto on the back. "Little brother, you're a man of secrets. Where did you find this beast?" "In the forest," said Naruto, as Madara looked towards the fox, who growled at him, as Madara simply laughed. "A feisty creature. It suits you, brother," said Madara. As Naruto stared at Kurama, 1,000 questions ran through his mind, but he gave a nod to Kurama, who nodded back. With the approval given, Naruto climbed on top of his head, as Madara laughed as Kurama snorted. He rode him back toward the clan gates. As he gestured for his aunt to begin the journey, many men and many women looked towards the Kingslayer, sitting right on top of that giant, dangerous fox. Already, they feared him, but with the beast, his reputation would not improve. But he ignored all of those glares, as he gave a respectful nod to his father, who gave back one with a faint smile. As he then turned towards Madara, "Farewell, brother," he said. "And you too, little brother," said Madara. With those last words, and a final smile towards his family, Naruto rode off. Time skip. A dozen set of eyes watched as a convoy passed through the forest. Their instinct was to attack, but they did not have the numbers. But they wouldn't do such a thing in the first place because they were here just to observe. "Is that the Kingslayer?" asked a young boy. He was dressed in heavy armor, marking his clan. His older brother glanced towards Uchiha on top of the giant fox, right in front of the clan. Tales of the Uchiha massacre had spread far and wide despite their attempts to try and keep the secret. While many sins were horrible within clan, the sin of killing your own family was the worst. In all of the clans, no matter where they came from, well, except for the Kaguya clan, all of them were just crazy. And now Naruto Uchiha, with his Sharingan, rumored to have incredible fighting power, and the act of killing his own clanman, and not to mention with that dangerous fox, well, he was becoming a true, dangerous person. Yet, Hashirama Senju eyes widened when Naruto glanced towards that direction. As Hashirama reached towards his blade, did he know that they were here? "Is he looking at us, brother?" asked Tobirama. "I guess so. It seems he has sensory power like you, Tobi." "He's a Kingslayer," a female voice said, with disgust. Hashirama glanced toward the second, youngest sibling as he sighed. Snaddy had been a feisty one, just like their mother, inheriting the same hair and eyes. And just like their mother, she loved their family, and she loved their morals. So in Snaddy's eyes, for him to kill his own family, he was the worst scum on earth. And also he was responsible for the death of their older brother, Kamara, in the battle that happened a year ago. Snaddy had never forgiven them for what they did, taking away her older brother. And it was because of them that Inama had lost his left eye. Hashirama, Tobirama, and Inama looked towards their sister as they saw the hate and disgust as she looked towards the Kingslayer. Not only was he responsible for killing her family, but he had further disgraced himself in the eyes of everyone else by killing his own family. He might be strong, but in her eyes he was nothing but a weak, power-hungry scum. "We should report their movements to father," said Hashirama, as he earned nods from the other clansmen hiding nearby. "Should we not engage them, brother? Together we can take down the Kingslayer, ridding them of their precious Sharingan," said Tobirama in a cold tone. "We don't have the numbers, and I can sense he won't go down without a fight. You killed his brother. He will not forget that." "I can take him," Tobirama said, that glare. "No." Snad and Inama flinched as Tobirama realized that Hashirama was serious, so he backed down instantly. Their small group started to retreat as Snad's eyes singled on the man that she hated. As he glanced back at her, "Kingslayer," she whispered. She wished that Hashirama gave them permission, because this Uchiha very existence is an insult to her older brother's memory. She didn't know how he knew where she was, but he also chose not to attack. Instead, he gave a playful wink. His smile only made her more pissed off. But she heard Hashirama call for her, so she moved off. "One day, I'll deliver my justice on you, Kingslayer," she said. Time skip. 8 years later, Neri stood on top of one of the castle walls, the greatest landmark of the Uchiha, Castle Tsukiyomi. As the castle was large, standing on a high mountain peak, it looked like it was about to reach up in the sky. This castle was attacked 10 times by a large amount of enemies, and 10 times they were defeated. More than half of that attack had happened in the past 8 years, because the Uchihas were doing something that threatened every other clan existence. The dragons were gathering allies, and unlike the Senjus who were trying to gather the largest and most powerful clans on their side, the Uchiha did the exact opposite of that. Instead of going after the bigger fishes, Under Neri command, they went for the smaller clans, those that lost their family. The results were quite unique for both sides. Today, the Senju clan was quite powerful in everything, be it money, or power, or political clout. They had mighty allies in the form of the Sarutobi clan, the Akamichi clan, and the Inuzuka clan. Together, they all represented the strongest alliance in the southern area of the elemental nation. On the other hand, though, the Uchiha clan was the single, most largest clan, having the most numbers of fighters, even more than the Senjus. They have developed great allies in the form of the Aburame clan, the Shimura clan, the Ui clan, the Namikaze clan, the Kurama clan, and many more smaller families. Together, these clans combined represent the largest faction. But there were still so much clan that had yet to choose side. But together, Neri knew that it was inevitable. The gathering of such great factions all over was a clear sign: the clan wars. She had done her best to gather as many allies for their people as she could. Most smaller clans had heard about Madara exploits, as Madara has grown to be, if not one of the most strongest person across the elemental nation. Not even the Senjus could strike him openly unless they had the support of one powerful member to have their back. Madara had made his name when he took on the entire Aburame clan. In single combat, he defeated them all, leading them to join to the Uchiha clan. Seeing a noble clan like the Aburame be defeated, the lesser clans quickly flocked towards the Uchiha side. The Shimura clan quickly jumped towards the Uchihas without asking for anything in return. But the Ui clan and the Namikaze and the Kurama clan, they took some persuasion, some internal marriage between their families, and some lesser Uchihas to merge between their families to join the cause. And Neri did her best as she created a perfect balance. But that was not enough. Even though the Uchihas had Madara to rally behind, the Senjus had one person as well. His name was Hashirama Senju. Hashirama Senju was the only person that was able to face Madara in combat. And not only did he survive, he forced Madara into a draw. He was highly respected amongst the clan, and it was his jovial attitude that makes Sarutobi, Inuzuka, and Akamichi join their cause. Madara had developed a rivalry with the Senju. It only went up when Madara placed the dragon symbol instead of the normal Uchiha fan. Hashirama chose the antler, a fine animal found in the forest, instead of their symbol that they have used for years now. She was distracted from her thoughts as she heard steel clashing against steel. Looking down, she saw her 6 bodyguards engaged in a fearsome duel, their group name being inspired by their leader. As Neri watched one of the longest hair as he flashed through hands and released a fireball. Out of the 6, he was the best fire style user and a master of shuriken jutsu. His name was Itachi Uchiha. Beside him, a boy raised a single finger as he shrouded the entire area within darkness. Despite his lack of Sharingan, Neri really had problem believing in his genjutsus, but they were immense, placing enemies in illusion that they could not break until the end of their life. Not to mention his hyper fast movement with the Sunshin. His name was Shisui Uchiha. He was the most devious and fastest of the group. A burst of chakra broke the illusion as Kagami Uchiha stood there. Charging forward, he engaged both of them in taijutsu, knocking them back. Kagami was stronger than all the members, and he was as quick as a bird. She then turned and she saw Kakashi and Mikoto attacking one member. As they were the newest of the group, the other servant had been deemed too weak to fight. But during one of the siege on the castle, the twins had taken up arms and defeated 4 grown men together. Their strength was not gone unnoticed by the man who saw it, so he decided to teach them what he knew. Neri couldn't help but smile at the young man of 14, soon to be 15, who kept her safe for all these years. Naruto Uchiha. He had made a name for himself as the finest swordsman. When it comes to kenjutsu, he had no rival. Dazzling in his golden armor, his silky brown hair, he was a handsome person to look at. While his brothers made his enemy shake in fear, Naruto was looked down upon because of his past actions. Many had challenged him, most prominent being the Fuma clan, who tried to take this castle, but him alone stepped forward and slayed all of them. She still shivered as she remembered when he used his blade Dawn to mercilessly slaughter every single Fuma that stood in his path. As Naruto used one hand and pushed the twin swords back, Kagami, Itachi, and Shisui jumped forward as they all raised their blades towards him as well. Even though I can cut through the 5 of you, like carving through a cake, mocked the King Slayer. His group was called the King's Guard, as he was the one that named them. Neri watches all of them move to attack him together. As Naruto activated Sharingan, Neri smiled as she thought that he wouldn't gain friends because of his reputation, but Naruto surprised her. Itachi, Shisui, and Kagami had made judgment in the first 3 years of seeing Naruto. When he continued to prove his loyalty over and over, they requested to serve underneath him to protect Neri. Naruto agreed because he saw the skills of 3 boys in battle. At the same time, against her wishes, he had placed Takashi and Mikoto under his command. The twins were supposed to be servants, but Naruto took them under his wing and taught them how to be a ninja. As years passed, they learned how to work together, despite their different personalities and likes. King's Guard, they were called, for their unflinching loyalty towards their leader, the King Slayer. They didn't doubt him one bit. As Naruto sent a kick towards Takashi, he was launched away as he crashed down, holding on to his chest. As Naruto spun and delivered a roundhouse kick, knocking Mikoto and Kagami away, as Shisui and Itachi blade clashed against Naruto's. The both of them were using both hands, bringing their blade down, but he was holding up with one hand. As Naruto rotated his blade and knocked away Shisui's, and he punched him right in the jaw, throwing Shisui back as he crashed on the ground. As him and Itachi was the only one left standing. It was a well-known fact that Itachi admired Naruto's skills. He had tried for years to defeat Naruto in combat, but he failed every single time. His aim of defeating Naruto in sword fighting was something that didn't seem like it was going to happen anytime soon. Despite Itachi's best efforts as he moved, Naruto was barely putting in much efforts in the battle. As he had enough as he moved forward as he dodged to the left, Itachi read the block as Naruto moved at a split second and roundhouse kicked Itachi straight into the ground. Itachi flipped over as he brought his blade, as Naruto brought his blade as well, but at the last moment he flipped it towards his left hand and caught it, knocking Itachi's blade away as he placed his blade at Itachi's throat. Still better than you, said Naruto. As Itachi lowered his head, but not in shame, he looked back up. Someday, I'll beat you, Lord Commander, he said. As Naruto groaned at the title, how many times have I told you not to call me that? You are our leader. It is befitting that I address you by the right position, said Itachi. There were brief chuckles as the rest of the King's Guard came forward. Leave it, Naruto. You would find it easier to make the Senju surrender than make Itachi easy up on tradition. Earned a mild glare from Itachi. How's the stomach, Takashi? Asked Kagami humorously. Screw you, said Takashi. As Naruto chuckled at his friends' banter. Friends. He smiled at them. He was grateful to have them in his life. After his past, he had given up any hope of finding people that liked him. Most people still hated him in this world. But these 5 had looked past their hate. They made their own judgment, and they believed in him. He looked over towards the lazy fox that was sleeping within the corner, as a grin came on his face, because these people were proof that not all Uchiha were bad or insane as the beast thought. Naruto still found it hard to believe that Kurama decided to travel with him. The Kaguya and Hagoromo clan was hunting after him, and despite everything, the Uchihas were quite feared. Staying with them would keep a good eye on them, and also he would stay out of humans' conflict. But Naruto doubted that was reality because Kurama was quite strong, as he believed that Kurama came along because they were friends. As Kurama was by his side when they eliminated the entire horde of ninjas from the Fuma clan, and they have accepted Kurama in their ranks. Do you guys ever rest? As Naruto turned as his aunt approached them. The rest of the King's Guard bowed. Before Naruto could kneel, she grabbed his shoulder. Your family. You never have to kneel before me, she said. I am disowned, Hirosama, said Naruto. Not to me, she said. She looked him directly in the eyes. You are Uchiha. You might not have the name, but you are my blood. He was unable to meet her piercing gaze. It always made him feel like a child, even if he was a grown man now, soon to be 15 of age, and that was quite a feat in their world. After all, ninjas end up dying rather quickly. As he watched her interact happily with his friends, praising them for their skills and pointing out their mistakes. Everyone loved her, they respected her, as she was the backbone of the clan. Near then grabbed his arm. Walk with me, she said. As he nodded, as he started to walk with her, as he bid his friends goodbye. As the servants were all around, doing their daily chores. As they walked, everyone stopped and greeted them respectfully, even calling him Lord Commander. After all, he was responsible for the security of this castle. But as soon as they turned their backs, those very same people glare at his back, whispering Kingslayer. He had gotten used to it over the past years, smiling at their taunts and their words. But it felt like a dagger to his heart though, one that would never stop. one that would never fix your reputation. Does it bother you? Asked Nira sadly. A dragon does not bother with the opinions of sheep, said Naruto. His words might say that, but his eyes show another story though. Your eyes betray your pain, Naruto. They have always held up beautiful yet far away look in them, she said. She could still read him like an open book. Poetic, said Naruto. She sighed. We have a visitor today. Who? Said Naruto. Sakumo Hatake. Despite his shock, he did not falter as he continued to walk by her side. He's a sworn ally of the Senjus, isn't he? Said Naruto. He is. And the rest of his clan. But today, he came to us for aid, said Nere. Most Uchihas would have erupted at the enemy coming to them for aid. But not him, he was calm as ever. The Hatake clan are distant allies of the Senju. They have fought for them for nearly a century, but I've heard discontent that has grown in their ranks because of the butchering of the Sarutobi clan in their lands, and they were given permission by the Senjus. Something has changed, said Naruto. Correct. Something has changed, she said. By now they reached her chambers, and Naruto saw a silver-haired man with grey eyes waiting there. The man was fully armored with his blade, an eagle on his chest. The White Fang, people call him. He got straight to the point. Have you made a decision? Near-sama, he asked. She walked past him as she sat down. That depends on my nephew, Lord Sakumo, she said, as Naruto was surprised by that, even though he did not flinch. The man looked towards Naruto, before his eyes settled on Naruto's blade, Dawn, that was right under the hip. Uchiha Naruto, he said. The boy knew that it was hard for this man to say his name like that, given the terms that people usually address him by. But Sakumo was a smart leader who needed help, and he would set aside his pride for his people. Lord Hatake, said Naruto. You have asked for help, Lord Sakumo, and while it is true I am the representative of my clan, behalf of my elder brother, it is my nephew who commands the forces here, so far away from our home. If you need any aid, you have to make your case directly towards him. Once again Naruto was surprised, but yet he remained completely calm, unflinching, unmoving. He wasn't the ear or the spirit of the clan, but yet his aunt loved to put him in these political situations, even though she was smiling waiting for his decision. Let's hear it, said Naruto. The Yamanakas. As Naruto saw the hatred within the man's eyes, the Yamanakas were a feared clan in the world. What of them, said Naruto. A week ago, Iwashi Yamanaka, the current heir of the clan, abducted my daughter from my home forcefully. I want her back, said Sakumo. Naruto appreciated that the man got straight to the point. Last I heard, you are a sworn ally of the Senju clan, our enemies. Why not ask them for help in this manner, Naruto asked, in a serious tone. Don't you think I've tried, boy? Hashirama Senju asked for time to resolve this matter, because he has been trying to get the Yamanakas to join his side, and that is more important than the safety of my daughter or the injustice that was done upon me and my clan. We, who have served this family and his clan for generations now. As Naruto ignored the remark that was thrown towards him and stepped forward, despite his age of only 14, he was tall enough to stare the man directly in the eyes. And why would the Uchiha help a clan that has been our enemy for sworn generations? Our own side has been trying to make the Yamanakas join with us. If we help you, then that will make them join with the Senjus. And last I checked, the Yamanaka clan has more fighters than your clan, and their mind loots are more dangerous than your entire clan combined. As Naruto's eyes show off a dangerous glint that made Sakumo flinch, Neri sipped her wine and smiled, quite pleased to have Naruto tear him a new one. She loved watching Naruto hidden potential. He was as skilled with his words as he was with his blade. He will make a good leader. She watches the anger disappear from Sakumo's face as he realized. He looked defeated as he spoke. It is true, we have been enemies, but when my sworn ally forsake me, I am left with no choice but to approach a faction that has the power to save my daughter. If I act against the Yamanaka clan, the Senju clan will destroy my clan for messing with their plans. But my daughter, he said, as the man scowled angrily. Most people would have reached and acted towards the man's side, like Madara, as Madara loved the action, as he liked to be on the battlefield to test himself. But Naruto looked at the world differently than his brother. I'm afraid we can't help you, Lord Sakumo. Have a good day, said Naruto. Sakumo was left shocked as he looked into those cold eyes. He remembered who he was talking to. An Uchiha was never said to be kind to anyone or merciful to anyone, even their own clan members they were ruthful towards. He knew about this possibility. He had hoped that he could manipulate their hate for the Senjus and gather some support from them. But the Kingslayer was far sharper than people give him credit for. He looked at Neri one last time, but she shook her head as she was agreeing with Naruto. Tired and defeated, he turned to walk away when he was forced to stop. Swear fealty to my clan, and I promise to give you back your lost daughter and your lost land, and make your enemies pay. Sakumo spun back around swiftly. I will personally lead this mission with my kin's guard and make sure justice is done for both our clans. Neri hesitated. While she knew he was strong, going up against the Yamanaka with only his kin guard was not enough. More than that, risking so much for the Hatake clan who just had barely 300 fighters. As Naruto looked back at Neri, if we can't protect our future allies, then why should they protect us? As Naruto turned to walk, Kingslayer. As Naruto paused and turned back, Sakumo's eyes had changed. When he first saw Naruto, he saw, well, someone that murdered his clan members without hesitation. But now, you're not the man I thought you would be. Neither did I, said Naruto, with a faraway look in his eyes, Lord Sakumo. As Naruto left, leaving Sakumo to think deeply, he had judged the man wrongly. Today, looking into the eyes of Naruto Uchiha, he had seen the heart of the man. As he turned to see Neri looking at the door, with that sad look in her eye, do you think he can do it? As Neri smiled, he never make empty promises. If he said that he can do it, he will do it. As the man closed his eyes, before he opened them once again, clarity in his eyes. If he managed to save my daughter, I will officially join your side. The Hatake will fight for you. We're not a large clan but a proud one, and we can fight as fiercely as any other great clans, said Sakumo. As Neri nodded, then for a time being until he completes his mission, you shall be our guests. Once the deed is done, we will make the treaty official. And while I don't have any distrust in your words, you should know a dragon is never wounded. And forget. As she smiled, a chilling smile, as it made Sakumo remember how Madara had decimated the Aburame clan in single combat, and he had no intention of pissing off that dangerous man. As Neri saw the fear in man's eyes, as Madara had rained down blood and fire on their enemies. Compared to Madara, Naruto was a kind person, because Madara was ruthless in the battlefield, and if you threaten his clan or his people, he murdered without hesitation. As Sakumo then felt the place turn cold, a bloodlust swallowed the man's soul as he turned towards Neri. We respect our allies and expect them to do the same. You have called my nephew a name today. If you ever dare repeat that, you would not just only be pissing off Madara Uchiha, but Tajima Uchiha and myself. Compared to them and me, Naruto Uchiha is far more merciful. Understood? As he saw it, the madness that this clan was known and feared for, because there was none who loved or hated as much as the Uchiha. As he saw it, this woman would butcher the entire clan if they wronged her own. Compared to her, the look that he saw in Naruto's eyes was completely different. As Naruto's eyes showed sadness, hidden behind the humor that he was famous for, he had a strength that Sakumo couldn't well define. But Sakumo saw it in the back of his eyes, a strength that he was not showing. Time skip. Wait, let me get this straight. You want us to pass through Senju territory to attack a great clan like the Yamanaka by yourself for the Hatake clan, said Kakamai, summing up what everyone was thinking at that very moment. Naruto, your father, has been trying to gauge the Yamanaka for alliance for a year now. If you do this, then it's all for nothing, says Shisui. Why the hell should we even risk our life and the future of our clan for the Hatake? They have been our enemies for nearly a century and responsible for many deaths of our brethren. I say they deserve what they get, said Takashi. As Naruto looked towards the two silent members who had yet to say anything, Itachi looked back at him. I am with you, Lord Commander. As Itachi was able to read through the lines, and he understood what he could achieve here. There was an opportunity that no one else was seeing, an opportunity of a lifetime. Something tell me that you have a plan behind this, you always do. I like to hear it first before giving my opinion, said Mikoto, as Naruto was glad to see her putting her rash feelings before fear. The Yamanaka will never join us, no matter what father does, said Naruto. Why, said Kagamai. Because our clans are a bit too similar. We Uchihas are masters of manipulation with our genjutsu and sharingan. The Yamanakas are the same with their mind arts. When one can control the will of another, they refuse to bow to someone that can do the same thing. The Yamanakas know that we can counter their mind manipulation. That little advantage they had over us, it become useless on the battlefield. The Senjus, on the other hand, are not so considerate in the mind arts, and given Hashirama's friendly and trustful nature, the Yamanakas will attempt his manipulation from the shadows. It will be subtle and it may take time, but those mindwalkers are willing to take the risk. Then why all these small talks with your father? If they really want us to join the Senju, why? Why this small talk? Trying to show that they are at least interested, said Takashi, to get as much benefit from anyone that they join, and also to show a fake sign of respect towards the one that they don't. They're playing a much larger game, Itachi said. They're dangerous. What should we do? Kagami asked. A chilling smile arrived under the lips. It's time we hunt mindwalkers, he said. Time skip. 2 days later, Neri watched as Naruto got on his monstrous fox. She could see it in his eyes, the thirst for battle, while Madara enjoyed killing, as Naruto just loved to test his limit against worthy foes. But what made Naruto more dangerous is the fact that he did not even fear death. That made him dangerous than Madara. He welcomed death, for it would free him from the hell that was his life, and that gave him power over most people because he didn't want money, he didn't want glory, he didn't want power. He just wanted to redeem his disgraced name, no matter how impossible it seems. When he approached her, he stepped down to the ground, as she kissed his forehead and cheek. Be victorious, she whispered. She was unable to hide her worry, because she loved him like he was her own. That fact became crystal clear the day his life changed forever. His words of abandoning him all those years ago made her feel so guilty, because it made her think how much things would have changed if she was there for him. Would his life have turned out the same way? Would he still be a pawn for their clan? For Tajima, ambition. It's bad to bid someone farewell with tears before they leave the battle, said Naruto. She did not reply as she grabbed him into a tight embrace, tears slipping from her eyes. He was taller and more stronger than her now, yet she just wanted him to be safe and protected. Just be safe and think that to risk it. Come back, she said. We need this alliance, Neri, he said. Not if it means losing you or worse, she said. He smiled and kissed her forehead. This beautiful woman had looked after him more than his father had. There were very few that he had feelings for, and she was one of them. I won't die. Not until I kill Tobirama Senju, said Naruto. The hatred that Naruto had for the Senju, the second brother, was seeping into his voice. Promise me you won't engage the Senjus on your way. Killing Tobirama will not heal your pain, she said. As Naruto shook his head, he took away the one I love most in this world, and I will take away all that he holds dear. Only then, after ending his miserable life, will I join my brothers. You still have one brother left in this world, Naruto, and he loves you more than anything else. As Naruto thought about the sibling that defied everything for him, one that would not hesitate to burn the world for him. Madara has father, and I have to avenge Aizen, he said in a stubborn tone, as she broke the hug and looked at him. And what about me, she asked, as Naruto couldn't keep her gaze because he felt guilty now. You should have been my mother, he said. Her heart warmed and broke at the same time hearing him say that, as he showed her how much he felt for her. Then promise me, she said. Neri, she grabbed his chin as she made him look into her eyes. Promise me, she said, as she did not make him turn one bit. Very well, I promise. I will not engage the Senjus. I will focus on the mission. Her eyes lost most of the tension as relief washed over her face. Come back to me unharmed and victorious, and I will give you a gift, she said. He smiled as Naruto stepped forward, but Kurama moved as Naruto dropped right on his face, as the other started to laugh as it broke the hidden tension that was there. As Naruto glared at Kurama, who simply looked away. Time skip, nightfall. The group of 6 Uchihas and 1 giant fox stopped their fast track. A few miles ahead, it was the borders of their most hated enemies, the Senjus. Every member could feel it as they saw Naruto gaze fixated on the Senju borders, the hatred in his eyes as his heart burned for the one thing that he wanted, to avenge his brother. Kurama watched as Naruto sighed as he turned his gaze. If there was one thing that was true about him, he always, no matter what, kept his promises. We shall make camp here and move forward in midnight, said Naruto. But Itachi spoke. While we can move swiftly in the darkness, it still leaves us open for detection. The Senju clan is known for their hidden traps and sentry patrols. Any mistake and we will be surrounded before we can even blink. That's a risk we must take, said Kagami. It's good that we're just a small squad, and not a company that Neri was suggesting that we take on this mission. Takashi shook his head. There is strength in numbers, he said. We could have used that strength in case we engage the Senjus, or if, to help us against the fight against the Yamanaka clan, who would use their full force against us. As Naruto laughed, gathering their attention, as Mikoto looked towards him, Have you gone senile, golden boy, she asks, as Naruto glared at her, making the others chuckle, even Kurama snicker a bit at the nickname Golden Boy. Shut it, Mikabaka, he said, as her eyebrow twitched as her twin brother laughed. Seriously, you guys, we're on a mission, Itachi whispered, as Naruto took a breath. Do you trust me, he says. He looked towards them. Do we have a choice, Kakashi said, as Mikato and Kagami bumped him over the head. We do, Lord Commander, Itachi said. Then I will reveal our next action when time is right, said Naruto, in a cryptic way. As all of them nodded, as Kurama saw they glanced around, they were on guard. As Naruto refrained from telling his plan because enemies could be anywhere, he still did not 100% trust Sakumo. That is why he never told him his plan of how he rescued his daughter. And the King Guard, they accepted this mission without knowing the full plan because they had so much trust in their leader. Time skip. A few hours later, the sound of lips pressing together and being released could be heard near the shore of the river, the Naka River, as two Uchihas were entangled. That was the case until one of them stopped, earning a sharp glare. Naruto had the grace to feel apologetic as he looked at her with an apologetic look, although her next words rendered him speechless. Are you into boys? Mikato asks, as she saw the shocked look on his face. It made her smirk. Why do you hesitate to go any further, Naruto? She asks, as she placed a hand on his face. Because I can't, he said. I am forbidden, and I will spoil your future if I go any further. It does not matter to me, she said, as she kissed his cheek and placed a small kiss on his lips as well. It matters to me, he said. She did not stop though, and he did not stop her, as she looked into his eyes. You know what they all call me, traitor, Kingslayer. If we go any further, the same will be happening for you, said Naruto. Not to forget the trouble that it will land my father and elder brother in, said Naruto. She grabbed his cheek. Look at me. I was a daughter of a servant, you know? Destined to be used for pleasure until the Fuma clan attacked me and my brother. While they came down on the castle, the guards rushed to protect the nobles, leaving all of us alone. We fought as best as we could, even killing 4 fighters who underestimated us. But we knew that we would have died there if you hadn't come along and saved us. Even if we're Uchihas, no one bothered to protect the servants. You and the lazy fox were the only ones that came out to defend us. I remember being mesmerized watching your golden armor, your handsome face, as you twirled your blade. It was a massacre, but to me it was one of the most beautiful things in the world, said Mikato. The pain in his heart vanished at that moment, as he made someone happy, and that was something to be proud of. Despite it most looked down upon you, you were always kind to us servants. I and my brother was not much different, but when the battle was over, you walked towards us, saying words that not even our parents ever asked us before. Are you okay? He repeated, as he remembered that moment. That made her smile as well. Everyone told us that we have to follow a specific path, but when I saw your eyes, I saw something different. As she held on to him, I don't care what others think of you. Never have, never will. Thank you, he whispered. They both remained so, knowing even if their worlds were far away, their heart was at the same place. As Naruto reverted back to his usual self, I wonder what Takashi's reaction would be if he ever finds out about our extra activity. She bumped him on the arm, but she laughed. You jerk. One of my finest traits, a part of my swordsmanship, said Naruto. Modest, aren't we, she said. But don't worry, I'm older than Takashi. By 2 minutes, said Naruto. Her face became red in embarrassment as she raised her fists. So he ran. Time skip, midnight. While darkness covered the land. As the 6 of them were there with the fox. Out to the tower, they said Shisui. Since we can't travel by land, we travel by water, said Naruto. What difference does that mean? We'll still be spotted, said Takashi. No imagination, said Naruto, as he raised his hand, as Kurama glared at him. She always wondered about the beast's intelligence, as Mikato looked at it. As Naruto raised a hand as 7, water bubble was raised. With his other hand, he pulled out several straws and threw them on top of the water bubbles. We are ninjas, said Naruto. Stealth is our finest trait, and we shall use it. The current is strong downstream, and we will need proper navigation if we're going to reach the Yamanaka territory. Say Kagami, and keep these bubbles together in an unbreakable link. We don't want any of us getting separated, Shisui said. It's risky, Itachi said, but doable. And we do not doubt your control over water. What about your chakra reserves? Can you do this without getting worn out? It's a long way, said Mikato. Just follow my lead. I will not fail any of you, said Naruto. Time skip 2 hours later. Shisui gasped as he exited the water bubble, coming back to surface. The air inside was rather thin, so he had to take short breaths. But after 2 hours of journey inside of the water bubble, underneath the surface of the water, they were finally free. Their heavy armor and weapon were sealed away. As Naruto would ride the water wave, instead of like them that had to move through with the bubble, he ride it. Kurama on the other hand paddled like a dog. As Kurama was glaring at Naruto, as Mikoto saw the relationship between them was a rather unique one, as Naruto always tried his best to rile up the fox, but they always joked it off at the end, with a laugh or a snort from the fox. As Naruto placed silence and seal the moment he arrived, along with an anti-detection genjutsu, as he used a wind jutsu to dry off his foxy friend, who finally stopped scowling, they unsealed their scrolls, as they got their armors and weapons, like the water ride, said Naruto. Next time I'm walking, said Kagami, with a huff. Breathing from a straw is damn uncomfortable. Couldn't you have created a wind jutsu that allows us to breathe in the water bubble? Asked Shisui. Ungrateful bastards, Naruto mumbled. We can discuss the battle plan now that I have secured this area, said Naruto. As he explained his plan, most of them saw a bit of flaws, but they accepted his plan because he had a way around everything. Kakashi turned towards the fox. Other than Itachi, Mikoto, and Naruto, as Itachi on the other hand knew that the beast was powerful than it was like none, and Mikoto had saw the way it fought with Naruto on the battlefield. Do you really think the fox can handle a distraction on that magnitude? Said Kakashi. Oh, he's gonna enjoy messing with the Mind Walker, said Naruto, a bloodthirsty grin appearing in Kurama's eyes. It was like his leash was taken off, and he was allowed to do something that was his full nature. What is our plan of protecting the fox in case he got into trouble? Said Shisui. As Kurama looked at him a bit surprised. We need one of us to stay behind and create an escape route, just in case we feel or things get too hot. That person can also aid the fox, should the need arise, said Mikoto. Who? Said Kagami. As all of them knew, the one that stayed behind had a greater chance of getting killed, because the Yamanakas would come out full force against the fox. Kurama never expected any of them to risk their life like that, but Shisui got to his feet. You're really gonna risk your life for the fox should get into trouble, said Shisui. Yes. Let's go, partner, said Shisui. Earning a grin from Kurama as he walked away. Honorable fool, said Kakashi, as Kagami and Itachi bumped him with the head, but Mikoto looked towards Naruto's eyes, as he was looking at Shisui with a lot of admiration. She watched as he switched, as he became the leader that they need, as the plan was ready to begin. But guys, to be in subs right here, if you want to Sparring, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notifications they posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in social media platform. And also guys, thank you for the rest of what is coming your way over in Anime King 2 and Anime King 3. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So yeah, what do you say we get the hell out of here, guys? See you guys soon. Peace out.